This election fraud stuff is a crock. It's shameful. And it's shameful. And I say that, I mean that. As an American, I'm ashamed. I'm disgusted by it. Stop. Grow up. These people literally are vandalizing our democracy and trust in our institutions. I care too much about this nation. I care too much about this country. We're debating democracy in America right now. This big lie, this insurrection, what the hell's wrong with these folks? Grow up. Accept the results. There's absolutely none. It's embarrassing to even respond to that because it's fantasy. They're making stuff up and it's hurting our country. Forget this election. Guys like me come and go. We are a dime a dozen politicians. Quite literally a dime a dozen.
Elon Musk has made it clear, much to the dismay of those around Donald Trump, that he intends on being a co-president, that he wants to exercise his influence every place he can, but one place where Elon can't exercise his influence is over Gavin Newsom, who is clapping back at not just Donald Trump, but those around him, including his first lady and Elon Musk. And he is doing so in a way that is driving Musk absolutely crazy and leading him to just publicly melt down. And I cannot wait to get into that because Governor Newsom has been doing such a great job pushing back against this Trump administration. So before we get into that, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me now. Before we get into what Gavin Newsom did to push back against Elon Musk, I want to get into a video of Pete Buttigieg shutting down a GOP congressman on this very topic of electric vehicles. So before we get into Elon, let's take a look at.
Clearly, Mr. Secretary, this isn't working. So I'm wondering, is there some point, and if you've identified some point where you will stop, where the administration will stop, where the federal government will stop this requirement and let the market decide as opposed to this central planning model and this dictatorial policy?
Well, thank you. Given time is limited, I will confine myself to addressing the factually incorrect portions of what you have said, beginning with the assertion that EV sales are going down. They are, in fact, going up.
Does that include government sales or private sales?
Every single year,
private sales
more
or government
Americans
sales,
have purchased
Mr. Secretary?
EVs. The entire market.
The government's forced to buy them, so sales are going up, but the private sector.
There are private sales too, yeah.
I'd like those numbers.
Sure. 1.2 million EVs were sold in the U.S. in 2020.
How many government and how many private?
We'll get you that breakout, but as you know, more private citizens buy EVs than government purchases.
No, I don't.
Let me address the second factual mistake in your remarks, which was that EV costs are getting higher. They're in fact getting lower, and according to J.D. Power, have now reached parity or are slightly lower than the equivalent gas-powered car. That does include the subsidy. That's right. But the point is they are going lower.
But they're not, because we're all buying them.
Your statement that they are going up is incorrect. The third incorrect assertion you made is that sales dropped in Q1. They did not drop compared to Q1 of the previous year. Of course, if you compare them to Q4, they drop because they always do, because car sales are seasonal. But I would imagine most people are aware of that. And
no,
fourth,
I'm talking about
I want to address
EV, Q4 to Q1. EV, not just overall car sales.
Any car sales go down Q1 to Q4 because more people buy cars in Q4. But what I'm telling you is every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year before. And the word tailspin is just a bizarre word to use for a growing sector of our economy. We also think that since that's the way that the market is headed, we should not allow China to build on the advantage that they developed during the Trump administration, not because they're environmentalists, but because they understand the economic power of trying to dominate the EV market. We want those EVs to be made in America, and increasingly they are.
I'm happy to have them made in America, Mr. Secretary. What I'm not happy about is the mandate. The American people should be able to buy.
That brings me to the fourth and final thing that I need to challenge as being factually inaccurate, which there is no mandate. You can purchase a gas car if you want to pay gas prices at the pump, but if you don't, you can purchase an EV with our help.
I wanted to start with that video of Secretary Pete Buttigieg Not because I always enjoy watching him shut down the MAGA lies, but because this topic of EV competition is exactly what is driving Elon Musk so crazy. Because as we saw last week, Trump announced that he was not going to continue the EV credit program, which has allowed millions of Americans to purchase electric vehicles like Teslas for a significantly reduced cost. Now that hit the Tesla stock price in a pretty bad way. But it's not just Trump who stabbed Elon in the back. Like that Gavin Newsom has taken a step with that electric vehicle credit. It's making Elon pretty upset. And I want to get into that right here. Elon Musk rips Gavin Newsom for insane move to exclude Tesla from rebate plan. Governor Gavin Newsom is rolling out a plan to offer rebates to those who buy electric vehicles other than Tesla. A move that was blasted as insane by company CEO Elon Musk, who has emerged as a fierce critic of the Democrat and a backer of President-elect Donald Trump. On Monday released details of a plan that would extend the now expired clean vehicle rebate program if Trump follows through on a pledge to eliminate a federal tax credit for people who buy electric cars. Trump previously vowed to end federal electric vehicle tax credits, which are worth up to $7,500 for new zero-emission vehicles. California's defunct clean vehicle rebate program offered rebates on electric cars as high as $2,500. Newsom's proposed rebates could exclude Tesla and other automakers in an effort to promote more market competition and innovation, according to the governor's office. But that is the subject to negotiation with the state legislature. Muse called Tesla's possible exclusion insane. In a post on X, Newsom's office said the move to exclude Tesla is in order to allow other competitors to take rude consumers, continue to prove the skeptics wrong. Zero-emission vehicles are here to stay. Newsom said in a statement, "We're not turning back on a clean transportation future. We're going to make it more affordable for people to drive vehicles that don't pollute." Now, Elon is, of course, furious because this is a huge financial loss to Tesla. But Elon, I didn't think you liked government socialism. I didn't think you liked handouts, tax breaks, the government helping people. But when it's for your giant corporation, you want these tax credits, you want these rebates, and you also take billions of dollars. You're the biggest government contractor out there. Doesn't really add up. Now, does it, Elon? And of course, he is furious, and you can say what you will about this policy position from Gavin Newsom, but again, don't Republicans want to encourage competition in the marketplace, capitalism? That's what they're all about, except when it doesn't work for them, and that's why they are losing it. And of course, this is a hot topic of electric vehicles, and one that, once again, Pete Buttigieg has talked about so perfectly and calling out Republicans. So I want to go back to Pete before we look at a video from News.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about carbon emissions, carbon reductions. I know that's something that you care about. And can you tell us what percentage of the world's carbon emissions does the U.S. produce?
I think it's less than a fifth, depending how you count it, of which the single biggest economic sector is transportation.
Right, so the government data says 13.49, 13.5% is from the U.S. And like you said, the biggest sector is transportation. What's the percentage of that?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
29%. So if we take 29% of 13.5%, that gets us down to between 3 and 4% of global emissions come from U.S. transportation. What percentage of that is passenger cars and light-duty vehicles?
So I know it's one of the single largest categories. I don't have a
About
percentage breakout for you.
57% of that. So if we take 57% of that second number, we're down around 2%. So if every internal combustion engine vehicle in the United States was magically converted to an EV overnight, what would that say the potential to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions would be?
By that logic, Congressman, none of us should ever vote. We are all doing our part to do something about a global change, and I believe America should lead the world.
I disagree with you on that. We should vote smartly. We should put smart policy in place. And last count, we tried to find the number, over 120 some odd billion taxpayer dollars have been put in subsidies for EVs. Now, that's if all the fuel going into these EVs came from non-carbon emitting sources. Do you know how much electricity in the United States comes from non-carbon emitting sources?
Even if all of that electricity came from fossil sources, it would still be cleaner because EV engines are more efficient.
I think you need to go back and look at physics a little bit.
Okay, the physics, Congressman, are that an EV engine is 90% efficient, where even the best ICE engines are lucky to get to 40%.
There is really nothing better than watching Pete Buttigieg shut down Republicans, and we will certainly need that during the Trump administration. Not just Pete's voice, but his brain proving MAGA wrong at every turn. And of course, we also need the courage that we have seen displayed from Governor Gavin Newsom, who is one of the first Democratic governors to stand up to Trump, to put a video out there saying, "I'm not backing down," and I want to check out that video right here.
We have a president-elect, and I'm one of those people, I revere the institution. I revere this country, I revere the presidency, and I want our president to succeed. And our job, my job, is not to wake up every single day and get a crowbar and try to put it in the spokes of the wheel of the Trump administration. And so again, in that spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist, that's how we want to proceed. That said, fourth point, I'm not naive either, and we're pragmatic, and we will stand firm. I am reminded, there's that great old poem about, the winds may howl, but I will not be swept away. This notion that we have to plant our feet. And I remember, I've been here long enough, having worked with the previous Trump administration, I'm not naive about those winds, and they did howl. We were involved in we were involved in specifically 122 lawsuits with the Trump administration. We know their playbook. We know what they're going to do. I talked a lot about the campaign, and I appreciated Kamala Harris's closing message about Donald Trump has an enemies list, and she said, have a to-do list. I said I would make it a modest addendum to that. So did Donald Trump. That to-do list is laid out in a 922-page document, of which there's 270 specific points that he has publicly supported in that Project 2025 document, which 75% of its authors, and there's a multitude of authors, worked with the Trump administration. None of us are naive when he said he knew nothing about it. That is a to-do list. That is a playbook. The Heritage Foundation and others backing that playbook. You build on that, not naive about what to anticipate.
This is exactly what we need right now. We need leadership. We need courage. And we need to confront and work in advance of the Trump administration, preempt the attacks that they're going to make on our fundamental freedoms. We can't wait around to play defense on Donald Trump. We have to start acting now, and we have to start talking about these things now. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.